Craig joined.
Now recording.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fight for Liberty podcast. I'm your host, JJ, and today I will be hosting alongside my wonderful co host, Alfie.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Alfie?
Doing all right.
Good to hear. This is the 15th episode, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it is good. It's a good milestone. And again, consistent yet again. I don't think we've missed a week since holidays.
Since we started doing streams, no, I don't think we've missed a week.
Yes. As if you've obviously listened in the last few episodes, you can find us on Twitch for viewing the podcast early, as well as being able to get extra content outside of the podcast on those streams on Twitch. If that's something that's interesting to you, the link will be in the description on YouTube and Spotify. For you to get access, follow, or just tune in. It's typically every Friday. We've been pretty consistent. We haven't missed one since we started, obviously subject to change, but as of now, we don't have any intentions of not doing it in a week. That's about it. Nothing really changed since last week. We still got that link tree that I am now including in the descriptions instead of every link for convenience. Anything you want to add before we get into it?
I think we could jump right into it. I don't have any updates or announcements,
Right.
personally.
First article here comes from BBC. Russia, Ukraine, and U.S. hold trilateral talks in Abu Dhabi. Russian, Ukrainian, and U.S. negotiators have held talks in the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, the first meeting attended by all three countries since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion nearly 4 years ago, officials say. U.S. officials told NBC News that the talks were, quote, productive and would continue on Saturday, while Ukrainian President Zelensky said it was too early to draw conclusions from them. They follow a long meeting between President Vladimir Putin and U.S. envoys in Moscow, which Russia described as useful. However, the key sticking point remains territorial issues, including Russia's demand that Ukraine gives up 25% of the Donetsk region, which Kyiv still controls. In a statement posted on X on Friday evening, Zelensky said that, quote, a conversation has already taken place with the American and Russian delegations, and that his representatives were reporting to him every hour. It's a lot of updates if he's able to receive one every hour. Quote, the main thing is that Russia must be ready to end this war, which it itself started. Ukraine's positions are clear. I have defined the framework for dialogue for our delegation, end quote, he said. As for the substance of today's discussion, it is still too early to draw conclusions. We will see how the conversation develops tomorrow and what results it produces. This article was 4 hours ago. We were filming this on Friday the 23rd of January.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
Yes.
Wow.
Zelensky said last month that a 20-point... So, my reason in saying that is, if you're watching this now, tomorrow, the tomorrow mentioned in the article already has happened. So check the news if you're interested in updates on that. Zelensky said last month that a 20-point U.S. plan to end the war was 90% ready with Donbas in eastern Ukraine, one of the outstanding issues. He has offered to withdraw troops by up to 40 kilometers, which is 25 miles, from the region Yeah, 25 American numbers from the region in order to create an economic zone in Donbass if Russia does the same. The U.S. proposal for Ukraine's industrial heartland in Donbass for a demilitarized and free economic zone in exchange for security guarantees for Kyiv. The head of Kyiv's National Security and Defense Council, Rustem Umrov, is leading the Ukrainian delegation in Abu Dhabi, along with Kyrolo Budanov. Man, Ukrainians and Russians got some interesting names.
Yeah, for our American tongues, these Slavic names are hard to pronounce.
They really are, and they're hard to process, like when reading them on words. But they do sound really cool. You have to admit.
Yeah, they're tough.
Yes. Just some guy named Rustem. Rustem. That's awesome.
Rustem Umarov.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these people are like characters from Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
that's how their names come up.
Even Vladimir Putin. That's just a cool name.
Yeah.
The head of, along with Budanov, the head of Zelensky's office and negotiator, David, that sticks out, David Eric Hamia. It's kind of
Wait, hold
funny. He just has everybody has these like fancy names, and then this guy is just like, I'm the negotiator. What's your name? David. They are being joined on Saturday by the chief of the general staff, Andriy Hanatov.
Hold on. Wait, let me.
Hnatov. Man, there are a lot of. This reminds me of that episode we did with the Washington city names. Washington State.
Oh yeah. Those were tough words.
Yes. And if you're interested in which podcast episode that was, I can't remember. To the viewers. So, just you're gonna have to watch them all. Sorry.
Yeah. Oops.
Oops. On the Russian side, the delegation in Abu Dhabi is being led by General Igor. That's another good Russian name, is Igor. Or maybe not Russian in origin, but just foreign to me. Or maybe it's Igor. Igor or Igor? Igor Kostyukov, director of Russia's GRU military intelligence agency. While investment envoy Kirill Dmitriev will meet U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff separately to discuss economic issues. The three U.S. representatives include Witkoff and U.S. President Donald Trump's son. Excuse me. And U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. They had previously met Putin and two other Russian aides on Thursday night. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov and said those talks were, quote, substantive, constructive, and very frank, but reiterated that any agreement for durable peace would not be possible without resolving territorial issues. Until this is achieved, Russia will continue consistently pursue the objective of special military operation, he said. Witkoff said last year Russia had agreed to allow the U.S. and Europe to give Ukraine, quote, robust security guarantees as part of a political peace deal. Ukrainian officials also attended the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, where Zelensky met Trump for what he described as very positive, quote, very positive talks. He told reporters that they had reached an agreement on future U.S. security guarantees for Ukraine in the event of a deal. Zelensky gave no detail but said it would need to go before the U.S. Congress and Ukrainian Parliament before signing. Overnight Thursday to Friday, both Ukraine and Russia reported drone attacks. In messages posted on Telegram, Penza Oblast Governor Oleg Melnichkov said a drone attack caused a fire.
Those are great names.
Yeah, dude, the names in this article are really testing me. Said a drone attack caused a fire at an oil depot in Penza, an area southeast of Moscow. In Ukraine, the General Staff of the Armed Forces reported an air attack that saw drones hitting 12 locations overnight. Recent Russia strikes on key infrastructure targets have been leaving many people in Ukraine to face freezing temperatures without heating or power. Okay. What are your thoughts on this, Alfie? That's the end of the article, but what are your thoughts on this?
The last sentence was kind of depressing, but other than that,
I agree.
the entirety. I don't know. I think we're getting closer
I hope
to
so. How long has it been?
peace. 4 years since the war, and 2014. That was when they annexed Crimea, and that was 12 years ago.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Just make peace.
Yeah, come on.
Putin, I know you're watching. Okay.
We all know you're a huge
We
fan.
all know you're a huge fan, and Trump as well. All of you, and Zelensky.
And Joe Rogan and all the people.
Yes, every famous person that is a
Every.
household name ever is a fan of our podcast. Okay. And so we say enough with this.
Regardless of the fact that they contradict each other.
Yes. we say enough with this war. We're putting our foots down. We've had enough.
Yes. No, but all joking aside, I think that this could be good, but it's just like, I feel like, you hear a new thing like every 2 weeks to a month, like, oh, peace is gonna come, and then nothing really happens.
Yeah. It's just been this cycle, dude. It's madness.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that, like, just negotiations can be made, because this just can't keep going on.
No. Yeah, you can't just be at war forever. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Realistically, what do you see happening for peace? Who do you see taking what? What do you see as the final settlement, really? Do you see Ukraine submitting? Do you see Russia pulling back? What's your prediction?
Well, here's the thing. Ukraine's not going to get 100% of the territory they had prior to 2014. There's just no way.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been, fighting and holding strong, but Russia, even though they've been, and actually historically they've been terrible on the offense and great on the defense. But regardless, I don't think that Ukraine is gonna push deep into Russia or take back everything. I think that's gonna be tough. And I mean, just like, that would be kind of pointless, because even if you do secure all that territory, it's just gonna be a lot more effort into it's just it wouldn't be worth it. I think Ukraine needs to compromise a bit. I feel like in the past few years, at least, well, during when the war was going on, they were a little too they were not willing to compromise anything.
Yeah.
Which I think, I mean, I like the spirit and the confidence and the pride, but to be realistic, that's just not gonna happen. And Russia, I feel like they've been softening their attitude a bit, but I feel like at one point they weren't going to stop until they have a total comprehensive victory.
Yeah.
But
I
think both sides are kind of coming to their senses a bit, and I hope with this administration that can be done, because you got to admit, with this administration compared to the last, there's a lot more, at least, talks and negotiations.
Yes. No, that's, yeah. I do see quite a bit. What do you think Trump's role will play in this?
I mean, like in terms of getting peace.
Yes, in terms of striving towards peace. Because
I
he's
think-
very involved, clearly. He's been
Yeah.
the U.S.
I
in
mean,
general.
I mean, like, ever since the end of the Second World War, America has always been that, the world police and trying to secure peace across the planet in a way, or at least trying to, or getting involved in everything. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of, the whoever it is, the president of the United States, whoever the person is, will inevitably have a lot of influence compared to others. But to answer your question, I think you gotta get them both talking. Just gotta host that. Get the diplomats, the envoys from each country, the um, the delegates, just
Yeah. As
people that representatives, whatever.
as we've discussed many, many times in this podcast before, just general conversation really helps in a lot of different situations. Just being able to
Yeah.
sit down and have a respectful conversation, regardless of your beliefs with this person, or if you are going to disagree with what they say, etc. It's healthy, and I think that applies for world leaders as well as you and I, as well as the people who you see walking down the street. So I think that would apply here as well.
Yeah, I really don't like, obviously the current government of Russia, but I'm a little hopeful that something can be resolved.
Yes.
Something can come up to just finish that war, just stop it,
Yeah. No, I am also
because lots
hopeful.
of people are dying.
Yeah. What's your okay? Then here's a question for you. When do you think we'll see peace, realistically?
It's tough to say. I mean, I was hopeful that maybe like a year or two ago that peace would come soon. I think though, like you kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, like this is too much.
Yeah.
Um,
They cannot go forever without peace. Let's be honest.
yeah, because I mean, ultimately the people are just gonna get tired of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Realistically though, I
Yeah.
think hopefully during this term, during Trump's term, maybe I want to be optimistic and realistic at the same time.
Very
Maybe
fair.
in a year or so. I mean, hopefully less. But
Okay. I could see. Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
I don't know
just,
though.
it'll just really depend. Yeah, there's a lot of factors, but I think that's a fair estimate. We'll come back to this when it happens.
How old is Putin? I feel like Putin is like the really the only one who has been kind of not the only one, but I feel like the largest
73.
factor. If he dies, I think peace would probably come pretty quick.
Probably, yeah. To be fair, he's 79. I mean, Trump is Excuse me, Trump is 79 in comparison. So
I
Trump's
don't know
6
how
years
good
older
his
than
health
Putin.
is.
Neither do I. I don't know much about Putin's health.
Trump, I don't know about his health. I mean,
RFK recently
he's-
made a statement on his health. We don't need to get into it. If the viewers are curious, you can look that up. It was not positive in terms of Trump's habits, not necessarily his total health, but Trump's health habits were not positive from RFK.
eats Big Macs.
Literally, yes, that was one of the things. Apparently, he's constantly eating McDonald's and drinking Coke.
I know. I mean, I know he's he's like pretty overweight.
I wonder if that's public information, his exact weight.
Thought you meant whether or not he's overweight.
It says he's 215 pounds.
215.
Yeah, I
Actually not
googled.
that bad.
No, that's not bad at all. I mean, not ideal, but it's not that bad.
Well, how tall is he?
Let me look that up. Man, lots of fun
This
facts
is
on
a-
the podcast this week. This is riveting.
I was about to say the tangent we're going on.
He's 6'2".
I think that's just a little overweight.
Let me look. It
He is
says
250 pounds.
it is considered overweight. But again, I mean that's like BMI comes into account. And it does not account for body composition. But I mean, I doubt Trump is just a chiseled 215 of muscle. To be completely realistic.
I don't think we've ever seen him with the shirt off, so
No, I never have either.
he just ripped.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's my president right there. I remember when first time I saw when RFK did the push-up thing when he was shirtless. That really caught me off guard. Because when he's
Yeah.
wearing a shirt or like a suit, he doesn't look ripped. But then he actually is super ripped. It's impressive. Trump might be.
Yeah,
the same way,
RFK's in
never know.
great shape.
Oh yeah, considering his past and everything as well, he's in really good shape. Okay, we've gotten really off topic. Anything else
Yes.
we want to say on the anything else we want to say in regard to the Russia-Ukraine war?
Did you ask me a question? I might have forgotten.
Last thing I asked was estimate on when you think it'll be over, and you just said hopefully a year and a half, but hopefully less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Other than that, no. I just want to see peace. I feel like we might have touched on the Ukraine war before.
I think we have.
an episode. Yeah, and I mean, my message is still the same. We just want to see peace.
Yeah.
But hopefully, all leaders can just come to the table and just come up with something. Just
Yes.
stop the killing.
Yes. Okay, that moves us on to our next article. This comes also from BBC. This was unintentional that they both came from the same place. Headline reads, U.S. officially leaves the World Health Organization. This article was 16 hours ago. Again, it is the 23rd of January, 2026. The U.S. has officially withdrawn from the World Health Organization, the WHO, leaving the UN agency without one of its biggest donors. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order signaling the withdrawal a year ago, having criticized the organization for being too, quote, China-centric during the COVID pandemic. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said it took the decision due to the WHO's alleged, quote, mishandling of the pandemic, an inability to reform, and political influence from member states. The WHO has rejected these claims, and its Director General... Oh, this is... I'm going to need your assistance pronouncing this name, Alfie.
Okay.
Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. We're going to call him Tedros.
Ghebreyesus and
Ghebreyesus.
Adhanom.
Okay. We'll call him Tedros, because that's quite the name. Said the withdrawal was a loss for the U.S. and the world. Of course, the director of the of the World Health Organization would say it's a loss to withdraw from it. The CEO of a car dealership would say it's a loss to not buy one of their cars as well. I mean, just because the CEO says that does not mean that it's inherently true. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying. Of course he would say that. The organization pointed to its global efforts to combat polio, HIV, AIDS, those were one and the same, maternal mortality, and its international treaty on tobacco control. In the wake of the pandemic, WHO member states worked to create an international pandemic treaty designed to prevent, prepare for, and respond to future pandemics, including sharing vaccines and drugs more fairly. The treaty was finally agreed in April last year by all WHO member states, apart from the U.S. Washington has traditionally been one of the biggest donors to the WHO, but has not paid its fees for 2024 and 2025, which has already caused huge job losses at the organization. Although WHO lawyers suggest the U.S. is obligated to pay the arrears, estimated at around $260 million, 193 million pounds for you British people out there, Washington said it saw no reason to do so. It said that all U.S. government funding to the WHO has been terminated. U.S. personnel and contractors have been recalled from the WHO headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, and its offices worldwide. And hundreds of U.S. engagements from WHO have been suspended or discontinued altogether, it sounds like. The WHO tarnished and trashed everything that America has done for it. Quote, the WHO has tarnished and trashed everything that America has done for it, end quote. A joint statement from U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy and Secretary of State Marco Rubio read. The pair said the organization had, quote, abandoned its core mission and acted repeatedly against the interests of the United States, end quote, including failing to return the American flag based at its Geneva headquarters. Returning it back to the U.S., I assume it means? I'm not really sure what that is referring to.
Wait, hold on. Rest of the organization, including failing to return the American flag based at its. I don't know why that's relevant to mention.
No, they do.
Unless I'm missing something.
Quote, going forward, U.S. engagement with the WHO will be limited strictly to effectuate our withdrawal and to safeguard the health and safety of the American people, they added. The U.S. Department said it would have bilateral relations with other countries to ensure disease surveillance and pathogen sharing, but were unable to provide information about which specific countries they had links with so far. In response to a question about global efforts to combat polio or HIV, officials said that the U.S. would partner with NGOs and faith-based groups to continue that work, and could not give details of any partnerships yet established. Asked whether the U.S. would continue to participate in information sharing for the development of the annual global flu vaccine, officials were not sure. After Trump signed the withdrawal order at the start of his second term, the WHO wrote that it hoped the U.S. would reconsider, and said, quote, WHO and USA have saved countless lives and protected Americans and all people from health threats. Its reconsideration would have been for the, quote, benefit of the health and well-being of millions of people around the globe, it concluded. The WHO said on Friday that the U.S. withdrawal was on agenda for its upcoming board meeting from the 2nd to the 7th of February. It told the BBC that its secretariat will act according to the advice from the governing bodies. Pandemic responses by many countries with highly developed health services, including the U.S. but also the UK, have been criticized as slow and flawed. Many governments hesitated to impose lockdowns, fearing their citizens would not accept such restrictions. In the wake of the pandemic, studies have shown that the delay contributed to the rapid spread of the virus. The U.S. had one of the highest death rates, in part because of a patchy response to WHO advice on mask wearing and social distancing, according to Drew Altman, a former U.S. public health official. In a 2020 article for the BMJ, he accused the federal administration in Washington, then led by Trump, of failing to offer national guidance and allowing policy over COVID-19 to become politicized. With Democrat-run states mandating mask wearing while Republican states abandoned social distancing and permitted mass gatherings. The disappointing U.S. response to, the disappointing U.S. response to COVID-19 has been because of a failure of policy and leadership, end quote, said Altman. A research paper published in the UN National Library of Medicine also examined the U.S. response to COVID-19 and accused the Trump administration of, quote, a slow and mismanaged federal response, end quote. And that is the end of the article. What are your thoughts overall on the accusations that the WHO have given the U.S. on the handling of COVID-19, as well as the U.S.'s decision to leave? What are your personal thoughts?
I'll go in chronological order. Well, of the article.
Okay.
I think that, I really don't know how effective WHO has been. I honestly am not surprised at the claim, at least that, claim by the U.S. that we've been supplying a lot of aid, a lot more than other countries. It would make sense if we weren't really getting that much out of it and paying a lot.
Mm.
I think maybe it's time we stop being their sugar daddies.
That's very fair. I think we talked about this last week, but it's a very similar deal with NATO. And we talked about the Greenland situation last week, correct? Or was that week
Yes, we
before
did.
last? Okay. Very similar deal with NATO as well. I'm not saying we should necessarily leave NATO the same way we're leaving the WHO, but it's just it's a common theme amongst
No,
these
that'd be
organizations.
drastically different.
Yes, it is much different. But the paying into it and the U.S. being a large contributor is a common theme that I notice.
Yeah. I don't know if leaving it was the right decision. Maybe it could have been reformed, but to be honest, I don't really think that trying to be as effective and using the funds correctly would have been a worthy time investment. It could have been just like, all right, this is just not working for us.
True.
Then we dip. Kind of similar. Well, not the same, but just I think I've talked bad about the UN before on this podcast, and I'll do it again. Just
Get ready, UN
not-
Part 2. We know they're listening as well.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm also not very effective. A lot of these super major international organizations are not super helpful in what they try to do.
It's true.
So I don't know if this was the right move. I'm not just gonna blindly say it was. But if there was no hope for reform, then maybe it was the right decision. Now, in terms of the claim about the COVID-19 management, I will say he definitely could have handled that better. But I think it coming here was pretty inevitable.
Yes.
It was spreading rapidly. It was pretty quick before it had reached the U.S.
Yes.
And I think that I think, in my opinion, I think that he didn't do the best job managing it.
He, meaning Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
Okay.
But um, I don't know like what is like the right amount of like action that could have been done,
Yeah.
especially because the United States, it's a major country with a lot of activity. It's
Very
hard to
true.
just like shut everything down.
It's very populated as well.
Oh yeah, very populated and just a lot going on everywhere.
Yes. No, yeah.
So I mean, but I would probably like even if like this was under Biden, like the COVID pandemic happening, I would if it like the same thing happened, I would be like like it's kind of hard to contain.
True.
And even if you do, I feel like you'd have to use um, a lot of force to contain it, especially a huge populace, and that could dissolve liberty.
Yeah. That's true. No, I mean, those are very fair takes. I agree.
Like in V for Vendetta.
Yes. I have not seen it, but I do know what you're referencing. That would not be ideal in the land of the free.
No, not at all.
Um, yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I don't have much I could add on to that. Is there anything you want to say in closing to that article?
No, not really. That's pretty much it. All I need to say.
Yeah. Let's see, we're at about 37. That seems like a good stopping point.
That's
Thank you
that's good.
for yes, thank you for listening. Again, remember to check the link tree in the description. Um, to get all of the spots where you can contact us, where you can watch other content from us. You can watch. We got short form content. We got live streams. We got YouTube videos. I think we have a couple non podcast related YouTube videos on YouTube currently. At least one movie review. I want to say there's something else as well, but I can't remember. Um, so make sure to check all of those out. We have a Discord server. We have an email. Check it all out. And thank you for watching or listening. We will see you next week. Goodbye.